The way I got into building these cameras was in some senses, I did conventional photography, and there was this undeniable pressure like to Photoshop things and retouch them, and it seemed like photography for me was something that allowed me to have a voice, and I felt like my voice, I wanted it to be the truth. And it kind of started to feel like that personally I was a liar. Started just thinking about it more and more, and I learned about this process called wet plate collodion, and you actually make your own film from raw materials. That I also was going to need a different camera, you know, but it'd also be a camera that no one else in the world had. So then it'd be my signature. Once I got the idea in my head, I literally quit all those jobs, and then I moved back to Tahoe, and I had this dream to make this camera truck.
When Greg first pitched what we were doing, I wasn't really sure like how big the scale of what we were actually trying to do was. I realized we had to go to the lumber company to get a grant for the sheer amount of wood we needed. That I was like, this might be a little bigger than I thought.
Everybody, can I get your attention, please? Sorry in advance for this, such as the life of production. We're going to head off to Truckee Tahoe Lumber Company in 30 minutes to do a proposal to them to actually get the lumber we need to build this camera box. So we have 30 minutes to finish the proposal, go over who's going to do what talking parts, get on the bus and get there.
Oh God, a lot of stress, honestly, just because we had to prepare so much. Well, so much. We had like 20 minutes to prepare, to cram in like 2 hours of preparation. Walking in was like really daunting because these were just like a bunch of professionals and people in like business wear and stuff, and I was like, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing.
So in order to understand the steps required to produce high quality content that inspires viewers, we need to understand the tools and the skills used by professional content creators at the highest level. To gain this knowledge, we're working with Ian Ruther, a professional artist based in South Lake Tahoe. Ian used to be at the pinnacle of action sports photography and is now world-renowned for his wet plate photography, a 100% analog photo processing experience. So alongside Ian, we're going to be making an 8x16 foot camera Obscura out of, hopefully, your wood. Through this process, we're going to gain an intimate understanding of not only how a camera works, but how craftsmanship can create a more impactful piece of art.
But I thought it went really smoothly. I really got the sense that they were, trying to make it a little stressful for us. But I knew they were really interested in what we were doing.
Once we got our confirmation email from them letting us know that we were receiving the materials, it was time to head down to South Lake Tahoe and start getting to work on the camera.
All right, this is scene one, take one. 3, 2.
Okay, action.
By the time we went to South Lake Tahoe, him and his team had already built up the box and the design of the camera.
It's pretty rough, so what we have to do is go inside of there, and there's all these little light leaks.
And get to work on caulking the inside to make sure that it would be dark enough to take the photos that we want.
Rolling. Set up the GoPro right in that corner.
Alex, I'm recording right now. So what are we about to do?
Well, we're basically about to put the lens on this thing and turn it into an actual camera. I'm so excited. This has been the part I'm looking forward to most of this trip. This is gonna be so awesome.
Near the walls. That's good for round. Yeah, I think this is the most beautiful.
Alright boys, this is crazy.
Okay, so this is the inside of a camera. Okay, here you go. Wow.
Oh my god.
I don't know, just amazement that it was so pretty. Wow. Like, it was the most clear image I've ever seen on anything, and it was like so precise.
And until you actually experience the camera Obscura in person, you can't even fathom what it's like.
I don't know, the whole thing blew me away.
That is perfect. Thank you guys. John? Yes. Guys, big film, we're gonna say yes. Okay. Thank you. A little bit. What the heck? Hey.
And we're here with Ian Ruther, and we're about to make our first image in the camera. It's comprised of multiple squares that will create one larger image of the T campus with the backdrop of North Star and Martis Valley. So we're going to be exposing photo paper to the light projected through that lens. This room is going to be pitch dark in a second here, and we're going to have to tape up pieces of photo paper in complete darkness so that they don't get exposed prematurely.
That was a little stressful because we're like, oh God, if we don't get this perfect, we have to do it all over again. Because it was a black camera with a black interior and like 8 people in a tiny little box, it got really, really warm and humid, definitely. And then it didn't help that we were all like a little stressed out.
Walk us through what were the steps in the development lab?
First, we had to light seal the boys' bathroom, and that was kind of fun. We taped out all the windows, even the vent we had to tape out because there was light coming through. We set up these tables with all of the photo chemicals. The final step was getting the photos into the bathroom, and then we turned off all the lights.
So everyone's good. We got the door is locked. We are in here. We're about to do this.
That's just trying to side, yeah. So this side goes up, facing up.
Ready?
All right, all together.
3, 2, 1, go.
This one here. 27.
That was mine.
28.
Yeah, where's mine?
29.
Oh, yours is on top.
30.
All right, guys, pull them out and let them drip.
Oh, yours is on top of mine.
You guys want to see what your first development was like?
Yeah.
Because now we can turn on the light.
Whoa! Look at mine.
And we did that process probably maybe 4 or 5 times. It was a really fun experience developing photos in the boys' bathroom.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, action.
So when we were in the photo painting process, that's kind of where we were hoping everything would go together. We had all our photographs and we were ready to paint them pink and blue. We were all really excited. We started with our blue coat and it went super smooth. Everything went well. Everyone was helping. We got it done super fast. It was great. But then, of course, it couldn't just go smoothly. When we got to the pink stage, we realized that there's like this green showing up in our photos and we didn't know where it was from. Unfortunately, it basically ruined our entire photograph.
In the moment, like the failure it's pretty overwhelming to me, and I mean it's, you know, you almost self-destruct in that moment. But what I've also learned is in those failures is that's where the greatest growth has happened. So where we're at right now is that we had the fall to work on it, and because this process is so slow and we have to work with everyone's schedules, that now that there's snow on the ground, we can't move that camera. So then an idea was presented to make a 6-month exposure. They record an image onto the light-sensitive photographic paper, but you can't develop them or fix them, so they're unstable in light. So the next step is to make a little pinhole in it. So this pinhole, load the film in it, which will be the giant photographic black and white paper, open the lens, and we'll see what happens in 6 months.